They have come to America from the farthest corners of the earth, sporting their banners of allegiance, laying down a challenge to the home team. Resolve, determination, and pride fuel the athletes as they challenge the apparatus and push their own limits in a sophisticated ballet of strength and grace. And while the results are not always glorious, the effort is always maximum. They have come to the first major international championship of the 90s, full of hopes of glory and dreams of gold, openly proclaiming their Olympic aspirations. From just outside our nation's capital, it's the 1990 McDonald's American Cup Gymnastics Championship. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Patriot Center in Fairfax, Virginia. I'm Joel Myers, and we're down to the final 16 now. The competition started with the preliminaries with 60 participants. Now it's 8 men and 8 women vying for the all-around title. These championships started back in 1976 to commemorate our bicentennial. Over the past 14 years, they have truly turned into one of the greatest international gymnastics competitions. Joining us today, a past winner here in 1977, also an Olympic medalist in 1984, Kathy Johnson. Kathy, a great international challenge. It really is, Joel. The American Cup is exciting in that it has a tradition of oftentimes being a preview of Olympic champions and medalists, going back as far as 1976, when a relative unknown, Nadia Comaneci, vaulted into prominence by winning the American Cup and then, of course, becoming Olympic champion that year. Americans have done likewise. Julianne McNamara, Phoebe Mills, and, of course, how can we forget our own Mary Lou Retton, who won the Olympic all-around in 1984. It's always been a great showcase of talent here, and it's not going to be any different this year. Also with us today, another former winner of the American Cup in 1985, a year after he won a gold medal at the Summer Games in Los Angeles, Tim Daggett. And Tim, the degree of difficulty that we've been watching has been absolutely amazing.
Well, Joel, you know, over the past few days of competition and in the practice sessions, there were many skills being done that have never been done before. The level of difficulty here is higher than I've ever seen before, and personally, I was completely blown away by it. And I think this says something very important about the American Cup. The prestige of it and the tradition. We're not just seeing the top countries here, but we're seeing their premier athletes that are hoping to figure prominently come a couple years down the road at the Olympic Games in Barcelona, Spain.
So we are down to the final 16 in the American Cup Championships. Let's take a look at the standings. On the men's side, after 3 apparatus, starting with the bottom 4 in 5th position, the 18-year-old from the Soviet Union, Kolyovanov. And a great surprise for the United States after 3, Kevin Davis, the leader, and Lance Ringnald in 3rd position. Davis not even expected in the finals, but gained an entry, Tim, because of an injury to the Cuban.
Yeah, it's a little bit ironic because in the past, Kevin has many times himself had to withdraw from a competition because of injuries.
Here's his very first event of the day, the floor exercise.
Yeah, and a very strong effort for Kevin Davis on his first outing here. He'll do a 1 3/4 laid out somersault and land flawlessly.
Davis served as the team captain for the United States in last year's World Championship, so maybe a leader down the road once again in 92.
Oh, he's a veteran, and this is the best effort I have seen Kevin put forth on the floor exercise.
So it was a 9-6 for Kevin Davis as he moved to his next event, the pommel horse.
And Kevin is no stranger to big scores on this event. This is far and away Kevin's best event in gymnastics. He'll show us some beautiful work on one pommel. Travel across the horse here. This is called a Magyar walk. And now he really gets going as he travels the entire horse in flare and spindling positions. Beautiful work by Kevin.
He was first at the U.S. Championships last year on this very event. And a 9.65 for Kevin Davis on the pommel horse as he started to build on his lead. Now, finally, his 3rd event, the rings.
And Kevin would need a strong event here. This is characteristically not one of Kevin's strong points, but he does a fabulous job. Starts off with a nice kip to an L cross. Kevin showed a lot of composure in this routine. He realized that he was in the forefront and he just had to make no errors whatsoever. Here's a major skill for Kevin, followed by a tucked Yamawaki, the beautiful straddle L. Now the key to this routine comes right here. Kevin completely rocks this dismount.
It was an outstanding finish to the rings for Kevin Davis with a 9.55. So after the first three apparatus, Kevin Davis of the United States, the leader. He's being followed closely right now by a couple, including Lance Ringnauld of the United States. Standing in third position, the young man from Albuquerque, New Mexico, the second-place finisher here last year.
And Lance shows a beautiful floor exercise routine. This is one of his strong suits. Shows an excellent 1.5 twisting, 1 3/4 somersault in the laid out position.
A 9.65 of the floor exercise. His second event, the pommel horse.
And this is where Lance ran into a few problems. This has never been one of Lance's strongest events, and he told me before the competition he just wanted to get through this routine without any major errors. Now we'll note right there he gets a little bit off balance, and he just can't control himself right here, and he has, which in a competition like this is a major deduction.
So a break in form in the pommel horse earlier for Lance Ringnauld. That cost him. They graded him down to a 9.35. At his third event, finally, the rings.
Well, Lance gets right back on track here with an excellent performance on the rings. A beautiful back roll to a cross. That's called an Azarian.
He truly is one of the strongest competitors in this area.
He does an excellent ring routine, and he really shows the positions off. If you notice in the cross positions, he lifts his head to tell the judges in the crowd, hey, this is easy for me.
He's only 19 years old, 5'7", 150 pounds. At the age of 18, became the youngest member of our Olympic team in 20 years when he participated in Seoul, South Korea.
He is definitely our shining hope for the future. Now this is the key to this routine. Watch this, he nails this landing.
A 9.65 for Lance Ringnauld on the rings. Currently third after the first three apparatus for the men. Over in the women's division, they have completed only one apparatus so far. Kosuge of Japan in sixth position. Great start for the United States once again, first and third, with Kim Zmeskal leading so far. Sandy Woolsey in third position. Let's look back now on the second vault of Kim Zmeskal from BELA KAROLYI's gym.
Kim really set the pace here by surpassing Natalia Kalinina of the Soviet Union, who actually did a more difficult double twisting Yurchenko. But she had trouble with the landing, not like Kim right here. She just nailed it.
Perfect form and an exceptional score of 9.937 for Kim Zmeskal, only 14 years old. Now Sandy Woolsey.
Sandy did this Yurchenko with a full twist as well as she has ever performed the vault. And watch the landing. Again, another stuck landing.
Young lady who makes her home in Tempe, Arizona, with her coach Stormy Eaton, a 9.825. This is a very unique competition where the men and women are going to be alternating the rest of the way. Here's what's remaining now for the women: the uneven bars, the balance beam, and the floor exercise. 3 events left for the men as well: the vault, the parallel bars, and the high bar. Now as we pick up action, young man from East Germany, Rolf Buchner.
He does an extremely difficult laid out Cuervo with just one step. One of the most difficult vaults being done in the world today.
And a fairly clean landing for Rolf Buchner. Young man who's very excited about being in the United States.
Yeah, you know, I had some time to spend with him before the competition, and it's amazing the change in the East German athletes. They're so friendly, so excited to be here, and just having a real good time.
He's 22 years old from Potsdam, and when we talked to him about the competition and about his life back in East Germany, a big smile came across his face as he told us about his 6-month-old daughter and the opportunities she would have now with the changes in his country. It's alternating competition, and it's back to the women's side. Kalinina now from the Soviet Union on the uneven bars.
And Natalia looks very frail, almost slight looking, but in typical Soviet fashion, she has so much hidden strength and power, particularly on this event. She's in second right now, primarily because she didn't take advantage of the vault competition where she did the most difficult vault of the day, but didn't stick the landing. She has so much amplitude on this event, and look at the body line in the positions. Look at the nice high delta up there and the position into the handstand on low bar. Nice combination. She does a second release move right here, reverse hecht, which is much more difficult at the end of the routine. She also does a very difficult dismount, a half in, half out, big step on the landing. That will really be the only deduction there, but that's an area where the judges can nickel and dime you if you don't stick your landings. Just like she did on vault, didn't capitalize on places where she really could get bigger scores.
You can see the disappointment on her face regarding the dismount.
Take notice of the amazing height on this Delchev. She has impeccable form as well. And on the dismount, you can see she has plenty of height and should have had enough rotation. She just opened up a little too soon, but this is a really difficult dismount. It's a full twisting double bat, but that giant step is going to cost her.
She's only 16 years old, 4 feet 9 inches, 75 pounds. This is her second trip to the United States, and like some of the others that have come to this country, she said she'd like to go to Disneyland sometime. A 9.825 for Kalinina on the uneven bars. A future Olympian, we hope, taking in the action today in Fairfax, Virginia. We welcome you back to the American Cup Gymnastics Championship. And up next on the uneven bars from the United States, Sandy Woolsey from Tempe, Arizona. Here's your coach from the Desert Devils, Stormy EATON.
Conservative, Sandy, okay? Nice and easy.
That's an unusual comment from a coach. Normally a coach says, go hard, be aggressive. So Sandy must have a tendency to overdo or get overgeneralized, and that's his way of relaxing her. She is really sitting pretty after the vault event, and this is her best event here. She has really improved since the World Championships, particularly in the area of form. Giant swing into a reverse hecht. Very nice amplitude there. Straddle back to handstand. So far, this is one of the best routines I've seen her do here. Now, Sandy only does one major release move, but she more than makes up for the difficulty right here on the dismount. Full twisting double back.
All right, atta girl. They hit another one. That's the way. 2 out of 2 now. You can't ask for more than that.
Her coach, Stormy EATON of the Desert Devils, strongly believes in positive reinforcement. That's why he feels that his gym has 3 members on the national team, along with Sandy, Juliet Bangeter, and Elizabeth Crandall. When we return, the leaders from the United States will submit their performances to the judges. Welcome back once again, and here is our leader after 3 apparatus, the biggest surprise so far, Kevin Davis of the United States.
And this is not one of Kevin's strongest events. They completely changed the value of Kevin's latest vault, and he had to change mid-year, and he's doing a new vault that I don't really think he's all that comfortable with. He's got a good run. Oh boy. Oh boy, that's going to really hurt. That's a big, big mistake for Kevin. He just didn't have the push off of the horse that he needed to complete that vault.
So disaster has just struck for the former Nebraska Cornhusker.
Yeah, this is really disappointing. He doesn't even come close. No push off the horse and a terrible landing.
That truly may have ended his dream, Tim.
Yeah, you know, he'd really been the Cinderella story up to this point, but with a vault like that, I'm sure that he's going to be well back from the leaders.
He's one of the few gymnasts from the '88 team that went to Seoul, South Korea that did not retire, along with Lance Ringnald, who's also here at the American Cup. 23 years old, standing 5'7", 140 pounds, and has to feel shattered right now after such a sensational start.
Yeah, he really, really surprised everybody. He wasn't even supposed to be competing here, and that 9.15 is going to take him completely out of the race at this point.
Back over to the women's division now. We move to our leader after one event, Kim Zmeskal, working out of BELA KAROLYI's gym in Houston, Texas.
Strong.
What a sensational story KAROLYI is, defecting from Romania in 1981. Worked with the very talented, the brilliant Nadia Comaneci, the Olympic gold medalist in 1976. One of his star pupils as well when he came to the United States, Mary Lou Retton, 3-time champion here at the American Cup. KAROLYI made the decision, though, back in '81. It has paid dividends for so many people like Kim Zmeskal, one of his prized pupils right now.
And this is Kim's weakest event, but she has already put the pressure on the rest of the field because of a sensational vault. This is a critical routine for her. She missed this in the preliminary round. Starts out giant to a half turn to a Jaeger front. She had just enough amplitude, not as big as some of the other girls do on those release moves. A reverse hecht, no problem. She sets up for her dismount, a pike double back dismount, and a great landing.
Oh, keep on. Oh, that was
Kim fell in the prelims off the uneven bars, and BELA told us he thought it was goodbye American Cup after the preliminaries, but Kim Zmeskal really stayed strong.
That's exactly why this was a critical routine for Kim, not only in terms of this competition, but for her psyche as well. She needed to get back the confidence on this event. She was last year's junior national champion. This is her first year in the senior ranks, and she's off to a great start. Take note here that she's sticking all her landings, and in a competition this close, that could mean the difference.
Her coach, BELA KAROLYI, out of Houston, Texas, looking like an NFL coach on the sideline. His team has just scored a touchdown. Sigh of relief there from Kim Zmeskal, 4 feet 4 inches, 67 pounds. And BELA told us she is such a great competitor, such a strong individual. And a dynamite score on 9.887 on the uneven bars.
A great score, particularly because it's her weakest event.
Now let's go back over to the men's side.
From Gold Cup Gymnastics in Albuquerque,
Lance Ringnauld. He did so well in the preliminary competition, getting ready for his vault, Tim.
Well, Lance is certainly by no means out of this competition. He has such a strong last 3 events, and he'll show us something completely unique. This has never been done before in the United States. It's a vault the women are using. It's a Yurchenko with a full twist. Oh, and he does it beautifully. Excellent job for Lance.
How much of a deduction with a little hop at the end?
Well, considering the difficulty of the vault and considering that the men have not done this vault, the women have been doing it for some time, I don't think it'll be that substantial. Let's watch this now. He does a round off onto the board, a back flip with a full twist off. Incredible. The girls started doing this vault, and because they basically just jumped into it, I think it was allowed. The men had a little bit more time to think about it. The FIG, the governing body of gymnastics, designated this vault illegal because of it until recently in the past year. And so that's why you're seeing this vault in international competitions at this point from the men as well as the women.
And Lance Ringnauld not coming up with the score that he needed on the vault at 9.45. We move back to the women's division, the uneven bars.
This is Mari Kasugi of Japan, and she was one of the favorites last year at the American Cup. She and Kalinina both have the most difficult routines of the competition. Nice high Jaeger front. She didn't start off as well as I thought she would on the vault event, therefore she's down in the standings. I really think she can move up. Look at that, a nice high reverse hecht. And she does a full twisting double back as well, and an excellent landing.
Mari Kasugi was 6th coming into the competition in this event. 6th all around last year in the McDonald's American Cup.
I really think she can move up in the competition. She's done this dismount since last year, so really had time to perfect it.
Kasugi, the national champion last year in Japan, with an outstanding score of 9.862 on the uneven bars. That should move her up. And let's take a look at the standings now. First of all, in the women's competition after 2 events, Zmeskal and WOOLSEY on top from the United States. And Kasugi did move up slightly to the 5th position. Over to the men's side after 4 events. The American Kevin Davis really had his problems on the vault. Led after 3 all the way down to 5th, but Lance Ringnauld in solid position in 4th. Welcome back once again to Fairfax, Virginia, as we continue with the McDonald's American Cup Gymnastics Championship. I'm Joel Myers, along with Kathy Johnson and Tim Daggett. Last year's champion, Brandy Johnson, only a spectator today. It has been a tough road for her recently. A number of nagging injuries, a lack of conditioning coming into the competition. Failed to advance past the preliminary rounds. Her problems really started, Kathy, on the uneven bars.
And this event had proven to be her nemesis in the past. She rarely made mistakes at all last year, but when she did, it was on this event. You'll see the problem right here. She just can't hang on to the bar. Major deduction.
Another look at her fall on the uneven bars.
It's really a shame because Brandy has had such a terrific past year and a half of competition, winning almost every competition she was in, and there you can see, just can't get her grips on the bar.
And even though she had that 9.325 on the uneven bar, she still had an opportunity to qualify for one of the 8 spots in the final round. But the problems continued as she moved over to the floor exercise.
It was on this event that I knew something was amiss. This is not typical of Brandy Johnson. She's one of the most powerful tumblers in the world. She's usually 2 feet higher on this pass. I knew that her ankles were hurting her. She had problems with her kidney over the past week. And you could really see that she just was not ready for this competition at all. And I could see it in her eyes. She was not up for it.
And her final tumbling pass, another fall.
Again, she just ran out of steam here at the last of her floor exercise. You could just see she's not in condition.
So uncharacteristic. An 8.175 for Brandy Johnson as she is consoled by her teammates. We will not have a back-to-back winner. We had a chance to talk with Brandy.
Yeah, I just had some kidney problems, and I had a little bit of surgery like a week and a half ago, so.
The vault is usually your strongest area. Today you started out, it was not a great start, somewhat of a weak start by your standards. Did you feel at that time that it was going to be a rough day?
Well, I knew that I hadn't had enough training for this meet, but I just had to do the best I could and just pull everything from within inside me, and I guess it just wasn't enough.
Due to those injuries, Brandy Johnson is going to take time off. Now she's returned to the gym of Kevin and Rita Brown in Altamont Spring, Florida. She's going to rehabilitate. She will not be back into active competition until the National Championships to defend her title in June. The last 2-time winner of the American Cup, KRISTIE Phillips in '86 and '87. Phoebe Mills, who won a bronze in the '88 Olympics, only won 1 year at the American Cup. BELA KAROLYI coached both.
It's always when somebody is losing the throne and the king is leaving the throne, it's sad. But that's the life. But we are just as excited when the young ones are coming in and taking the throne, and we have new idols. That's why gymnastics is so alive. And I believe, you know, the gymnastics is that's why it's so spectacular, because always you are having these new great, explosive, spectacular young individuals coming in, making a big splash, just delighting us. Then daytime comes too, and another one is coming. And I believe that's just the big wheel is turning around, the big wheel of the time, and they're just eating up certain old-timers and giving place for the new-timers.
Brandy has done more in a year and a half than many gymnasts do in their entire career, including a 7th place all-around finish at the World Championship and a silver medal.
Sandy Woolsey now, 2nd after the first 2 events in the women's division, moving on to the balance beam.
Sandy has been incredibly consistent over the past year of competition. She's not missed a single event so far. Tick-tock. An original move down to the balance beam, which is a requirement. The gymnast must perform close to the balance beam at some point in the routine.
Balance beam, 4 feet off the ground, only 4 inches wide.
And believe me, at times it seems a lot thinner than that. Setting up for her most difficult pass, 2 back handsprings to a layout pike somersault, just dead center on the beam. This is the type of performance you want at this point in the competition. Every 1/10 of a point counts. You don't want to give up any slight deductions. She needs a little more amplitude on those leaps. Should show a 180-degree split in all of those leaps. Those are just very, very slight deductions here and there. Preparing for her dismount. She does a very difficult round-off back handspring. Oh, and she missed her foot. She wasn't even able to do her normal dismount, which is a double pike dismount.
Good try. Good try. Good try. What happened? A little off on one side? Okay. It was nice and fast. It just, you know, when you miss that foot like that, you made the right decision. You can't really keep going when that happens, so it's all right. Good job.
I can't believe I did that.
Well, I think it was a very smart decision, and you're still alive and going on the floor, so.
You could hear her coach talking about a decision to be made. The decision was whether to throw the double back or not. And you could see she misses her foot. The decision was made for her. She couldn't do 2 rotations, so she had to change her dismount and only do a single rotation. It's a major deduction for Sandy.
We'll now wait for Sandy Woolsey's score before moving back to that event.
So a breakdown for the young lady from Tempe, Arizona as the judges confer. We'll take a break. Be right back after these messages from your local station. Sandy Woolsey has just fallen out of contention with her miscue on the balance beam at 9.337. And we move back to the men's side now, and Alexander Kolyavanov, who is tied for the lead after the first 4 events.
And he is really doing a fantastic job getting right back on track with that vault. But if he has a weak event, I would have to say it's here on the parallel bars. He does some very nice work, a beautiful giant with a half, and that's a Stutz front. But he really has a few form breaks throughout the routine, and there's another mistake, a little bit of a hand placement. Works well, but maybe not as well as some of the other events. There's a beautiful Stutz to a handstand. And his dismount, a double pike, and a good landing. But really didn't knock your socks off with that routine.
Sounds like you don't think he took many chances.
Well, I think he really is playing it safe at this point. He wants to come home with a major international championships. And that's a routine that will do it for him.
Kolyavanov scoring a 9.7 on the parallel bars to retain his position atop the men's division. We get ready to move back over to the women's side. Kim Zmeskal, the leader from the United States after the first 2 events to the balance beam.
At this point, Kim is out competing Natalia Kalinina by virtue of sticking landings where the Soviet is having trouble. And it was on this event in the preliminaries that I was very pleased to see her come back from a fall on the uneven bars, regain her composure and her concentration, and she just did an excellent job coming back on this event. There was one of the special requirements on balance beam, a front handspring through to right into a jump. They're trying to emphasize combinations. Gymnastics, excellent.
Great
2
form.
layout step outs in a row and perfect landing.
Been talking to BELA KAROLYI about this young lady, and she is one of KAROLYI's kindergarten. Told us she's very coordinated and very aggressive.
One thing Bela instills in all his girls, from Nadia to Mary Lou, right on down the line, is their aggressive style in competition. They are so tough in competition. Gainer layout step out, again, a solid landing. Watch here as she moves directly into the dismount. No waiting, round off double back.
That was something else. No. Good job. Good job.
Kim's family made the drive all the way from Houston, Texas for their performance today in the Washington, D.C. area. Dad David or Mom Clarice, 10-year-old sister, 7-year-old brother. Great support for that 14-year-old who is coached by BELA KAROLYI.
No, good job, Kimbo. Now, on the floor, you be smart. You have to be very smart on the floor. Not easy, but not too hard. Usually you hit too hard at the first, and not too hard at the end. Let's try, to control it, okay? And a nice dance, okay. No, just that's it.
BELA KAROLYI, the coach of Kim Zmeskal, already getting her ready for the final event of the day, the floor exercise.
And there are the other Americans from your left, Shannon Miller, Hillary Grivich, and Brandy Johnson.
And the score on the balance beam, a 9.825 for Kim Zmeskal. Still the leader with a total of 29.649 points. An interested spectator in the stands today, a 3-time American Cup champion Kurt Thomas, who is ready to make a comeback. He's on his way back at the age of 33. We head over to Lance Ringnald, 4th so far after the first 4 events. And he is going to be chief competition, I would think, for Kurt Thomas. And Thomas really tried to take over where Ringnald is right now as they get together probably in the Gymnastics Championships in Denver in June.
Well, definitely, if Kurt wants to make it back, this will be one of his key competitors. And there's a key point to make right there. That first skill is a skill that has never been done before. And we'll watch another one right here
A major skill, completely changing the sport of gymnastics on parallel bars. It's a double front. Extremely difficult. Those skills weren't even thought about when Kurt was competing. Lance is working very well on the parallel bars. One of his best performances thus far today, and a double pike and a great landing.
Let's take a look at the start of the parallel bars for Lance Ringnald.
And right out of the box, Lance will show us an original move. This is all his own. It's kind of in between a Maltese and a planche. Has never been done before. And that major skill that wasn't even thought about when Kurt was competing. There's a double front re-catch on the parallel bars. Now watch this. He does this about as well as it can be done. A double pike to a near flawless landing.
Ringnald finished second in the American Cup last year, also second in the all-around at the U.S. Championships last year in Minneapolis.
Oh boy, and a 9.7. That looks a little bit low to me. That was an excellent effort by Lance. I'm sure he'll probably be a little bit upset with that.
Kurt Thomas on the comeback trail. In 1977, Kurt Thomas introduced what was to become his signature, the flare, a graceful move of style and power. He's since performed the flare in hundreds of cities throughout the world, but its debut was in Barcelona. Now, more than a decade later, Kurt Thomas is making a comeback with hopes of reaching Barcelona again in 1992. Kurt has included himself in a growing list of athletes who are challenging time. Mark Spitz hopes to compete in the 100-meter butterfly in Barcelona. He'll be 42. Former champ George Foreman wants the heavyweight title. He's also 42. Guy Lafleur came back after a 3-year retirement to play with the Rangers. He's 38. With the Rangers, he scored 18 goals with 27 assists and 45 points. And Kurt Thomas. He's not only defying gravity, but defying age as well. At 33, Kurt is focused on a regimen of training with his sights on an Olympic medal. An Olympic medal is about the only accolade not displayed in Kurt's trophy case. A world champion in 1978 and 1979, Kurt was one of those American heroes whose face should smile across Wheaties boxes. But with the Olympic boycott in 1980, the next step, an Olympic medal, never came to fruition. As a result of a series of injuries, but mostly the lucrative business opportunities awaiting him, Kurt retired.
I felt at that time that, you know, in a way, a lot of pressure was off me. We didn't go, we're not going, and I looked like the star that I wasn't. I looked like a gold medal winner, and I didn't even have to win. But still, there's that empty hole there, you know, from the Olympic Games. You can win all the world championships you want, but until you win the Olympics, you're not the best in the world.
Winning an Olympic medal is a great achievement for any athlete. But at age 36, it is rare indeed. In the last 3 Olympic Games, the average age of a gold medalist in Kurt's sport was 23. There are exceptions. At age 40 during the 1960 Olympics, Masaya Takamoto of Japan won a gold medal. But in a sport famous for its ever-increasing degree of difficulty, Kurt will be confronted with a new generation of gymnasts.
He knows that difficulty is getting harder and harder. He needs to have difficulty and technique and probably to be most consistent, you know. For Kurt, he's so experienced, he knows what he has to do, and he's seen the rise in gymnastics. I'm sure he's very smart about the sport.
1984 Olympic gold medalist Bart Connor was Kurt's teammate in the late 70s. It was a challenge for him to keep healthy and competitive for the 84 Games. He is aware of the challenge awaiting Kurt.
Kurt would need to come back and be quite a bit better than he was 10 years ago. Now, I can see on a couple of events like pommel horse and parallel bars, I'm sure he could put together some really good exercises. But on the other 4 events, it's going to be really tough. Routines that he did about 10 years ago now would score in the low 9s. So he'll have to be a lot better than he was 10 years ago to get the 9.8s and the 9.9s and the 10s.
I'm a person that takes a challenge. You know, when people don't believe in me, that's when I turn on. I'm not the kind of person that I sit back and I think about, well, I was a great gymnast then, I'll kick back and I'll stroll into the meet and I'll be a good gymnast again. No, you have to work. You have to work at it real hard, and those people are pushing me. They're helping me. They don't even know it, and they're helping me to become a better gymnast.
Kurt's life over the last decade has taken some tough turns. 2 marriages ended in divorce, and in August of 1986, Kurt had to file for bankruptcy.
I believe that, you know, goal setting and getting some direction in my life was needed. For the last 10 years, I've been performing in my Gymnastics America show, but I haven't really had a goal. I haven't had anything out there to shoot for. And now I have this goal. I have this dream that I want to come true. And it makes things easier.
I think Kurt needs direction. He needs discipline, and he needs something to shoot for. And I think he's also interested in sort of re-injecting a little life into his career and making himself more marketable. And I think that's a big part of Kurt's motivation. And you know, he's hoping to do it with this.
If Kurt is hoping to advertise, his first commercial will be a low-budget one. His first meet will be in May, a regional qualifier in Ohio. But if his year proceeds according to plan, Kurt will capitalize at the U.S. Championships in June. He hopes to place on top to qualify him for the Goodwill Games. Then Kurt will be back in the thick of things.
You know, I miss that competition. I miss the crowd there, the electricity from the crowd, the feedback. I miss the challenge of performing and getting myself into that one great physical condition and being able to show that off. Because I'm a performer. I'm a show-off. That's what I do.
Natalia Kalinina from the Soviet Union, ready to take on the beam.
And she needs a 9.95 to take over the lead from Kim Zmeskal. That's a tall order on this event, but if anyone can do it, she actually could. She has tremendous difficulty in this routine. Watch the mount. Round off back handspring. She usually tumbles out of that. Smart move to play it a little bit safer here, because she has plenty of difficulty in the latter part of her routine. Look at that. Full twisting back handspring swing down. Elena Shushanova first did that in the 1988 Olympic Games. Such a difficult move. One of the special requirements, she did a leap and combined it with a back roll extension. Two back handsprings to a layout step out. Slight balance check. That could be the difference right there. Another requirement, combining the dance elements, one right after the other. Look at the extension, her toe point, how straight her legs are. These are some of the qualities that I said it will take a little while for the junior gymnast to work on and perfect. They've got plenty of time before the Olympics in '92. And dismount, round off, full twisting double back, good landing. Tremendous routine, only that one slight break in there.
Let's look back on the first difficult one on the balance beam.
I have respect for anyone that even tries this move. Full twist and then straddles down. You have to be so perfectly straight on that move. Here's where the bobble was. Two back handsprings. The last one takes off with 2 feet, layout step out. There was a slight form break in the air and, of course, a slight balance break at the end. They weren't major deductions, but when you're trying for a 9.95, look at this, so full twisting double back. Tough dismount.
Natalia started in the gym 10 years ago when her grandfather took her to see if she'd like it. Safe to say she likes it a lot, and I think she'll also like the score she received on the balance beam. That will now move her into second place with a 9.825, moving her into second place behind our leader from the United States, Kim Zmeskal from Houston, Texas, after 3 apparatus. Let's look at the women's standings after 3 events. Zmeskal leading Kalinina, followed by Kosuge from Japan. As Sandy Woolsey from the United States has fallen to 6th after her problems on the balance beam. Over to the men's side now, Kolyvanov continues to lead as Lance Ringnald is in 3rd place from the United States. Here is our leader going into the final rotation. The Soviet Union, Alexander Kolyvanov. But Tim, this is where he had his problems in the prelims, scoring only a 9.3 on the high bar.
That's right. He fell off the bar on a skill that he was having a tremendous amount of problems on. But from watching his one-touch warm-up, it looks that he's kind of made the decision that he's not going to go for the second release. But let's watch the first one. It's right here. It's a Kovacs over the bar, way in the air. Whoa, he's got it. Now, if he does it, it comes right here. And yes, he's doing it. Here we go. Here's, nope. He decided to take the Gaylord out of his routine and opted for an easier one-arm combination, playing it a little bit safe and probably pretty smart. He's just got to dismount here. A triple back. Oh,
and a big step on the
and a great landing. Boy.
The high bar is 8.5 feet off the ground, 8 feet long. How much of a deduction for the little step at the end on his dismount?
Well, it was such a difficult dismount, and he probably loses only about 1/10 for that. Let's take a look, though, at his first release. He goes flying up in the air and over the bar, 1.5 flips, and regrasps so easily. Now let's take a look at Lance's reaction here. I think what he's thinking right there is that, boy, you know, I wish he did that second release skill.
So Alexander Kolyovanov has completed his final event and has probably put together enough on the high bar to maintain his lead. Kim Zmeskal now, the big moment for her and her family. She needs a 9-9 to clinch the all-around title. Family drove all the way from Houston to be here. As her coach looks on, BELA KAROLYI.
Kim has really capitalized on the fact that Kalinina had some trouble with landings. Those 1/10 of a point deductions could mean the outcome of this competition.
United States of America, Kim Zmeskal.
The women's leader, Kim Zmeskal, from Houston, Texas,
and
at her floor exercise.
She couldn't hope to be in a better position. This is her best event. She's the national floor champion of the juniors on this event, as well as in the all-around. She has a .124 lead.
Do you think her coach, BELA KAROLYI, had something to do with that influence on the music?
She opens with a full twisting double flat in pike position and perfect. You can tell by her movement she is so excited and so on right now, trying to make everything perfect. Coach were even afraid she wasn't going to qualify into the finals after that fall on uneven bars and preliminaries, and look at her now. 3 whip backs, good, double back. Boy, she's showing it off. Even her leaps look better. Trying to go for perfection. Last tumbling run, going for another stick.
Similar routine to some of the Romanian routines we've seen in the past.
All right. All right. I love you. All right. Good job. Hey, good job.
I don't think there's any doubt we're looking at a young lady right now that's going to be a big part of the American plans in Barcelona in '92. She needs a 9-9 to clinch the title. An incredible performance by Kim Zmeskal, and her score a 9.95. She has just clinched the American Cup Championship.
Definitely the highlight of Kim's floor routine is her tumbling passes. Look at the height here, and most importantly, flawless landings throughout the routine. As I said earlier, Kalinina had troubles on landings, gave up 1/10 of a point here and there. Kim only gave up 1/10 of a point the entire competition because of a step at the end of balance beam. But here she just lands everything perfectly.
Clarissa Zmeskal, Kim's mom looking on. The proudest moment of her young career. And let's look back at the end of the routine now and get the perspective of BELA KAROLYI.
Control, Kimbo. Come! Harder! Yeah! Kimbo, no way! You won it! Hey!
He affectionately calls her Kimbo. And it looks like the KAROLYI kindergartners way ahead of schedule.
And that's Hillary Grivich, her teammate from KAROLYI's, congratulating her. Sandy Woolsey and, of course, Shannon Miller.
Let's go back to the men's division now. Kevin Davis does not have an opportunity to win, but is right now standing in 5th position as he gets ready for the high bar.
Yeah, and on this event, anything can happen. And I'm sure, although Kevin knows he can't win this competition, I'm sure he's hoping to move into that top 3 spot. And he does a difficult enough routine to do that. He'll show us his major release combination right here. It's a one-arm giant to a reverse heck, catch the bar, and another release. Beautiful. Boy, he's doing as well as I've ever seen him do. This is a required skill called an inverted giant swing. Now all Kev has to do is just land that dismount. A double layout with a full twist and a great landing. Wow. Beautiful
I think
routine.
It's safe to say he stuck the dismount, Tim.
Yeah, he pretty much wired that one. You can't land much better than that. Let's watch. He comes completely off the bar, does a full twist, and just nails it.
So Kevin Davis misses his chance, but finishes strong. The leader after 3 events will lament the missed opportunity. Someone who did not miss her opportunity really took advantage of the situation. The women's winner today, Kim Zmeskal of Houston, Texas.
Hi, Mr. Rivas.
Only 14 years old. What a great future she's got. Ken Davis getting a 9-8 on the high bar, and there's Lance Ringnald, the only one that still has a shot to catch Kolyavanov from the Soviet Union. Be right back to see that after this station break. Welcome back once again, everyone. I'm Joel Myers, along with Kathy Johnson and Tim Daggett. The American Cup Gymnastics Championships. The final round continues. Lance Ringnald, final member of the U.S. team, Tim, with an opportunity to take the lead.
Yeah, and if anyone could do it, it could be Lance. He has a dynamic high bar routine.
This is his best event. He does 3 release skills in a row. They're coming up right here. Here's the first one, a reverse heck. Great. Another one. And here's, he was a little bit too close to the bar there, and he decided not to do his 3rd release skill. I don't know, I think that may be cutting it a little bit too close for Lance. He really needs a phenomenal routine here. Not just a great one, but a phenomenal one to put him in that #1 spot. But here's an awesome dismount. He's going to do a double twisting, double laid out somersault. Oh, and a great landing. Boy, he really threw it out for him.
Lance Ringnald making a run at the leaders.
A fantastic effort by Lance. My only question is, it looked like he could go for his 3rd release skill. Now let's take a look what happens here on these releases. He'll do his first, this is called a reverse hecht. He'll grab the bar and go into another reverse hecht right away, and right there, he's supposed to do his 3rd release skill called a ginger. But let's take a look at this dismount. There's a lot going on here. He's doing 2 complete flips in the stretched position with 2 twists and an awesome landing.
Score for Lance Ringnald, 9.
So Lance Ringnald needed a 9-9 to take the lead from Kolyavanov, and he finishes with a 9-8. Well, disappointed, of course, but at the same time, Tim, that moves him into 2nd place.
Oh, yeah, but I really think Lance had the opportunity to completely capitalize. He needed to do that 3rd release to take the lead.
Let's go back now to the women's competition.
I knew I needed to.
To the floor exercise. Mari Kasuge.
And she needs a 9.65 to move into 2nd place behind Kim Zmeskal. And she has got the difficulty in this routine to do it. A whip back through to a pike full in. Great combination pass. Straddle jump into what's called a Shushanova, invented by Elena Shushanova, the straddle jump into a prone drop. Second tumbling pass is a double back. in a row. Double twist, punch front. Excellent for a side pass. That's difficult if it's your last pass. That's just a little side pass for her. She's preparing for her final tumbling run. As I said, this is just stock full of difficulty. Now watch the dismount. Full twisting double back. Tremendous job. It's so difficult to do that pass at the end of your floor routine.
She started before the final rotation in 3rd place. And of course, the battle now only for 2nd.
I'm sure with that routine, she'll move right into 2nd position. And unless KALININA can come up with a terrific score, she might stay there. See that, a whip back through to a full twisting double back. Perfect position in the air and moves right out of it. This is where the difficulty is in her routine, to finish with a full twisting double back, just like she started the routine. It was a little bit low, but that is tough.
So after starting out in 6th after the first event, Mari Kosuge moving up all the way to 2nd now after her floor exercise, and we'll be right back. We continue with our final rotation. Ralph Buchner from East Germany with an opportunity to win now in the men's division. He needs a 9.75 to tie Kolyovanov from the Soviet Union, a 9.8 to win outright.
And he has been our most consistent gymnast today with no breaks. His major release comes right in the beginning. Here it is. It's a Kovacs over the bar, and he's got it. Whoa, a slight bobble with his hand. You know, but that really isn't a deduction. He shouldn't have any problems with that. Here's his next release. It's a Ginger way up in the air. He's doing very well. This would be a major championships for him. One of his first major competitions. And here's his dismount, a laid out full twisting double, and he stuck it close. Oh boy.
Needed a 9.75 to tie, a 9.8 to win. We may very well be looking at our champion.
Yeah, he could be right in there. Let's take a look at this. Now watch where his hands kind of miss the bar. He hits his forearms a little bit and slides down. Just barely holds onto the bar. Wow. Now check this out. On this dismount, he is so high, he is in another zip code. And he just nails the landing.
He needed a 9.8 to win. Surprisingly, though, he only comes up with a 9.7. Let's move back to the women's competition now, and Natalia Kalinina.
And you're in for a treat with this routine, even though she can only try and move into 2nd position with a 9.6, which she can easily do if she hits the routine. A tremendous difficulty throughout. Double layout somersault. But look at the expression in the dance. The movement with the music.
She really got the crowd going with her in the prelims just this way.
Well, her form and her execution is just exquisite. Full twisting double back, through to a back handspring straddle jump, tumbles right back in the opposite direction. Oh, to an Arabian 1 3/4 somersault. That is 2 tough passes back to back.
She is trying to hold off the late charge of Mari Kosuge from Japan for 2nd place.
She has just about more difficulty in this one routine than any of the other gymnasts combined. Little wiggle in the corner. Ends with a full twisted double back. Just nails the landing. Look at that beautiful job. You would not believe that she's doing that amount of difficulty with the poise that she has in this event.
So the 16-year-old from the Soviet Union has completed her final event. Let's look back on one of her tumbling passes.
The evidence of her level of difficulty is right here at the end of her floor routine. She does a full twisting double back and finishes so strong.
Her 2nd trip to the United States much more successful than her first one to Columbus, Ohio, when she fell 3 times off the apparatus. And a 9.925 on the floor exercise for Natalia Kalinina. She will finish in 2nd place Behind our champion, Kim Zmeskal, American Cup champ, already fulfilling her obligations. We get ready for the final floor exercise for Sandy Woolsey.
Okay, you gonna put on a show out there? Okay, it's got to be the best one of the day. Okay?
We'll be right back. A big part of the future of American gymnastics. Kim Zmeskal, Hillary Grivich, and Shannon Miller to the right. So we get ready now for the final floor exercise, that of Sandy Woolsey.
Get ready for this first pass. It's a beauty. She does a full twist through to a triple twist, and I don't think I've seen anyone do this before. Very nicely done. And as I said, this is a new routine since the World Championships. Nice combination. All of the gymnasts are required on this event to combine dance and gymnastics elements with acrobatic elements, and that was a perfect example. Double tuck.
She looks so relaxed out there. It's one thing she told us, the World Championships really helped her with her confidence and relaxing on the floor.
I really feel her confidence is still intact, even though she had the problem on balance beam. Everyone has really taken notice of her here, as well as at the World Championships. Double twist punch front. Good pass to end with. All right, nice finish for her. It's good to see her come back from the balance beam and finish on a high note.
Difficult to tell that she had problems earlier in the day.
Nice job. Very nice slow routine. Very nice. Very nice. Good girl, hon. I know. It's the lip.
And we're going to take a look at a beauty of a pass. She does a full through to a triple full for her opening run. And it's definitely Sandy's strength. She can definitely twist. Watch here. She does a full twist, tumbles right out of it, and now count these. 1, 2, 3, and really finishes that twist before she lands.
A 9-9 on the floor exercise, so a strong, strong finish for Sandy Woolsey. Let's look at the final standings now for the women. Zmeskal, the champion, of course, followed by Kalinina, and Sandy Woolsey battling all the way back to 4th position. Over on the men's side, the champion from the Soviet Union, Alexander Kolyovanov, Lance Ringnald finishing in a tie for 2nd. Let's go to New York now for an update. Welcome back once again. The awards ceremony going on right now, and Kathy Johnson, Kim Zmeskal winning today her first major international competition.
I knew it would be a close competition among the top 4, particularly between Natalia Kalinina and Kim Zmeskal. Kalinina was great, but Kim showed her ability to compete with the best in the world.
Only 14 years old. There's her mom, Clarice. Her dad made the long drive to this Washington, D.C. suburb all the way from Houston, Texas. And it seems right now that her timetable is absolutely perfect for Barcelona.
Considering the timing and her aggressive style in competition, she's definitely a contender in 1992.
And American gymnastics in great shape overall, with performers like Zmeskal, Brandy Johnson on her way back, and Sandy Woolsey too. And Tim Daggett, the American men, a bright outlook for them.
Oh, I think so. They'll be competitive down the road in Barcelona, Spain.
The 1990 McDonald's American Cup Gymnastics Championships are brought to you by the Good Time Great Taste of McDonald's, by Metropolitan Life and affiliated companies. Get Met, it pays. By Barbasol Gel. Barbasol Gel proves a shaving gel doesn't have to be expensive to be rich. And by A1 Steak Sauce. A1, it's how steak is done.
Alexander Kolyovanov, the winner in the men's division. We'll be seeing more of that glass-nosed smile in the future. Special thanks to Cheryl Grace from the U.S. Gymnastics Federation. For Kathy Johnson and Tim Daggett, I'm Joel Myers. So long from Fairfax, Virginia.